All right, there you go. We are live. I do have a poll question up. I forgot what he put down there yesterday, 23 hours ago, with 17 votes so far. Front row leaving RFK for the Pinsky alliance. Is that a good idea? Is that a bad idea? And a good idea, bad idea from front row's perspective, of course, is what I meant by that. I think there was some confusion down here, but we will get to the comments here or to the chat here in just a second. But of course, Kaz Gralla basically full time. He's getting 26 races over there in the number 15 for Rick Ware Racing. So that's going to be a cool deal for him. It'll be interesting to see who fills in those other spots. There's a few names floating out there, Riley Herbst being one of them. That they're trying to put together a few races over there, and then maybe Ryan Newman or somebody like that fills in the other handful of races or whatever it'll be. But Kaz Gralla, Justin Haley, two good young kids to build your organization around. If you look up youngest race car driver to win stuff historically and go look at some of the stuff Kaz Gralla has done, Kaz Gralla's done some pretty good stuff early in his career. Hasn't been in the best equipment recently, but I think that's going to be a good move, good pickup for Rick Ware Racing as they continue to build. And they should have a little bit more technology to pick through now that Front Row Motorsports has left RFK and taken their alliance to Pinsky. So might work out for everybody in this particular deal. Right now, 73% saying it is a good idea. And, of course, the other big news is that Wendy's is going to sponsor Trackhouse. We saw Shane Van Gisbergen over there in that commercial too. So apparently he's going to be a part of it, along with, of course, Daniel Suarez and Ross Chastain, which is kind of funny because Daniel Suarez is in amazing shape. I have a hard time believing that he's going to be eating a whole lot of Wendy's, but it's pretty cool that Ross Chastain no longer sponsored by what was it? The healthcare company that's now over there at Trackhouse, Advent Health, I think. No longer sponsored by them, so now he's got Wendy's and now he's got Busch. So it's interesting. He did a 180 as far as the sponsorship stuff goes. So that's going to be cool to watch over there. So that was I guess the bigger stories that I didn't get to cover today. That and it's about 3 degrees outside. It is freezing, not 3 degrees, but it's definitely in the 20s. Anyway, let's get into the chat here. Everybody saying hello to each other. I'm just gonna skip past that. B's feeling good, so we're glad you're feeling good there, B. Let's see. Kaz Gralla going to Rick Ware Racing. Hope that deal turns into a full time. If he performs well, he sure deserves a cup ride. I agree with you. I think he's done enough in his career to prove that he's a solid driver. He's won or ran well in some equipment that is suspect at best, so good for him. And like I said, I think he finished in the top 10. I know he finished in the top 10 when he filled in for Austin Dillon that one time at the Charlotte Roval, so I know he can get it done. Just has to be in good enough equipment, and hopefully Rick Ware gets there. Now, one question is answered. Still remains who else will be in the 15 car for the other 14 races or whatever it's going to be, says Chrome. So, yeah, we'll have to see who that's going to be. Like I said, I think it's going to be a rotation of guys. I think that maybe Riley Herbst and possibly Ryan Newman are names you can drop in that list. The part of this that nobody's talking about is J.J. Yaley. J.J. Yaley jumping back down to a possibly Xfinity or Truck Series ride. So this will be the first time in a long time J.J. Yaley hasn't been at least racing 1 or 2 races in the Cup Series. So that's kind of interesting as well. Maybe Cody Ware, though. I don't know, says B. So, yeah, I mean, Cody Ware is another name you have to throw in there for sure. Herbst, he knows the owner well, so he's got some connections. Herbst was rumored to be putting a deal together to compete at the Super Speedway track, says Chrome Diesel. So there you go. There's the Riley Herbst. That's the same. I think you saw the same thing I saw, Chrome. Riley Herbst possibly going to be doing some of the Super Speedway stuff. Daytona 500 at least, says Chrome Diesel. Mark Barnum, what's up, my friends? And Chrome saying, what's up to Mark as well. In between the lanes, I think Baloney Burger will wheel the 15 Rick Ware Racing Ford Mustang Dark Horse in 2024 as well. I don't think they want to put me on tap for that, but if they give me the opportunity to drive a race car, always say yes if that opportunity is given to you. Let's see. Another thing is the Ford, I think the Ford logo is coming off of the Mustang Dark Horses, and they're just going to be the Dark Horse. They're just going to have Dark Horse branding on them at the Clash at the Coliseum, if I remember correctly. I remember that story off the top. Bob Pockers reported it, so you can look it up. But I think it's at the Clash. I don't think it's for the whole season. I think it's specifically for the Clash and maybe Daytona. But I did remember reading something about that. I guess so. Since all you need to do is run flat at Daytona. Well, I mean, yeah, you just gotta stay with the draft. The big thing at Daytona I guess, like, if it was going to be somebody that's an idiot like me, that doesn't have any experience in a cup car or anything with that much technology as far as that goes, the biggest thing would be getting on pit road. Remember to pump your brakes a couple of times to get some heat in them when you're fixing to come in there and pit, because you don't want to come in there on cold brakes, because you got to get a little bit of heat in them to get them working up. The pit stop for a novice would be the biggest thing. I'm not going to throw any names out there, but I think we all remember a particular race car driver in the Cup Series that Kyle Busch was very critical of, that was having some serious problems with pit stops. So we'll leave it at that. BB got this, says Bumblebee. The poll question, it's a lot of different ways to look at it as to who it's good for and who it's bad for. Is it good for front row motorsports or is it bad for front row motorsports? Just to clarify that, right now with 30 votes, 73% think it was a good idea to go to Pinsky and leave RFK for front row. 27% think it was a bad idea. Let's see. B saying, let's make it happen. I chimed in. I didn't remember. I didn't even remember what I made as the poll question. It wasn't fun with high gusts from yesterday. The concrete pad in front of my shop had a foot of snow. Oh, so you got the snow. We just got like a serious wind chill, and I think the high today was the highest I saw it in my car when I was driving around was 32. So I think we didn't even get above freezing today, but we were right there on the cusp of freezing. So, I mean, I've been in colder weather, so it wasn't that bad, but the wind is what really has gotten me down here. It's been wind chill in the teens here. Cold as all get out for middle Georgia, says B. Yeah, that's I'm getting the same weather here in North Carolina. It's basically the wind that's making it so bad. Chrome Diesel said I had like 6 degrees here in Pennsylvania this morning. Yeah, this cold front that's coming through, or the low pressure system, whatever you want to call it, it's bad, and it's fixing to get worse. And this weekend is going to be super, super cold, at least in the south. And I'm assuming up north it's going to be the same because it's all coming from that direction. So it's going to be interesting. But then I think midweek we're going to get a thaw out. It's going to thaw out about midweek, so probably Wednesday or Thursday of next week. It's going to be a little bit better. Not this coming Thursday, but next Thursday. Let's see. In between the lanes, what's up, my friend? We had a minus 25 to minus 40 wind chill for 3 days, says Mark Barnum. So yeah, you're definitely a lot further up north than we are. But anything below freezing in the south is just intolerable. Add minus 30 degrees for if you're used to living up north. When it gets cold in the south, it's inappropriate, and God needs to put himself in timeout for that. In between the lanes, that's a joke. Eric Jones is the first Toyota driver for 2024 with a diecast. The Advent Health car. See, when I'm not thinking about it, it just comes out immediately. Funny how that works when the camera turns on. A good looking car. Like, a lot of people don't like the Toyota. I'm in the minority that thinks the new Toyota looks really fast and looks really good. It reminds me of the more bullet shaped Gen 4 cars before they went to the COT or whatever. So I think they look good, but I'm definitely I'm not in the majority on that one. I found that a Toyota on a K-State diecast is in between lanes. Hey, there you go, K-State diecast. I've dealt with them a few times. It's funny that it's K-State diecast because they always ship it out of Charlotte, North Carolina, or somewhere near Charlotte. I can't remember, but I remember it's near Charlotte that they ship it out of. But it's funny that they call it K-State diecast. Hi, BB, and Happy New Year. What's up, Escobar? Happy New Year to you as well. We're supposed to get more snow tomorrow night here in Pennsylvania. Yeah, for sure. I think there's going to be a lot of snow. I think the snow sort of cuts off, according to Ryan. Hey, y'all, it's Ryan Hall or whatever. That's who I watch for the weather. Just so you know, it looked like it was cutting off right at last time I looked at it. It looked like it was cutting off right there at like West Virginia. After it gets past West Virginia and Virginia, at the top of Virginia, the snow sort of cuts off. So my area is not going to see snow, but maybe Virginia has a chance of getting some. Let's see. Couch Commander, nice shirt. What am I even wearing? Yeah, old college T-shirt. So yeah, free speech more important than your feelings. That's facts. Let's see. OJ and Toothpaste, Austin Cindric, the 2024 Cup champion this year. BB. Austin Cindric, like believe it or not, I know a lot of people are down on Austin Cindric. I'm hoping he has a rebound year. I'm hoping Austin Cindric goes out there and gets it handled and gets it done. That being said, aside from Ryan Blaney, Pinsky did not look there. Their first half of the season looked really nice. Their second half of the season, they had some struggles. Ryan Blaney, they got it figured out at the right time. Now, hopefully, whatever they figured out now that they've won the championship, hopefully they'll let that trickle down to the rest of the Pinsky teams. But I'm expecting Austin Cindric to have a much better. I mean, Austin Cindric and Austin Dillon, I'm expecting both of them to have much better years this year because last year you couldn't have had a much worse year, could you, for either of those guys? And they're both better than that, so I expect both of them to have a much better year. Beer and Cheeseburger, how American can SVG get? LOL says Chrome Diesel. So yeah, that's what I said. Bushes and Baconators. That's gonna be awesome next season. I think that's gonna be a really cool deal. Why the heck is the Clash 2 days on TV and only available for fans on Sunday in person? Says one wise guy. I don't know. That's a great question, dude. Like, I think it was B that sent it to me. I think there's an ordinance in California as to why they can't do that, but because there's a Dodger Fest, but there's no fan interaction for Dodger Fest or something like that. So I feel like it could be, and this is just speculation. I don't know anything for sure. But even if NASCAR knew that, they should have known that. And for whatever day they've got the permit, they should have just made it a one-day event. Like, because you're taking out, to me, the best event has been the heat races. So you're taking out the best event of the whole weekend, and fans aren't even going to be able to go in there and see it, regardless of what dumbass Jim Utter thinks. So I just don't understand what they're doing there. I totally don't understand what they're doing there. And one wise guy says, "Love your shirt." Yeah, I appreciate. I didn't even know what T-shirt I had on, but I appreciate the love for the T-shirt. As Daniel Suarez, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Ross Chastain are going to work the cash register, the grill, or the Wendy's drive-through during the week before a race, BB. They might. I think McDonald's has done that before. I've seen some franchises that do that. So that would be I always like those promos. Good comment there in between. I always like those promos when they do stuff like that because it's really cool because you're just going in there to get your Frosty and your two junior bacon cheeseburgers, and then you pop through there and you might see SVG or Ross or Suarez. So that would be super cool. Zane Smith is in the alliance too, right? So maybe Zane Smith. That would be cool too. Wendy's has gone way downhill. Used to be better with the older logo and had yellow packaging. Now they have stupid cringe, not funny commercials, says OJ and Toothpaste. I haven't seen the commercials because I don't have like regular TV anymore. But like I do know that they're like on Twitter, like their social media person. Their social media person's pretty funny as far as the quality of the food. Since the everything that went on, where everything nobody was allowed to operate under normal conditions. Since that happened, which YouTube's gotten sensitive about that word, so I can't say it without risk of running a yellow $sign deal. So since that's happened, I feel like every restaurant has gone downhill because all of the good workers either quit and found better jobs or just didn't come back. So, or whatever happened. But I feel like all restaurants across the board have gone downhill since all that stuff happened. So I don't think it's just Wendy's. I think everybody across the board. Kaz finished 7th at Charlotte when he filled in for AD, says B. So that's what I was thinking. I thought it was 7th. So a rare moment of actually remembering something because I said that on the show and I still haven't checked it. But yeah, I was thinking he finished 7th. Update on the Fiat. Maybe you should buy that car. You said you were eyeballing, says one wise guy. The update on the Fiat is the Fiat. I've got one video that I'm doing about an iconic NASCAR car. And it's a documentary. And it is a really big project that requires a lot of driving because I'm getting all my own footage or as much of my own footage as I can because I don't want it to get hit with a copyright deal. So when I get that video done, the Fiat is the next in line. The Fiat will be the next big, and when I talk about big project, it's probably going to be like a 30-minute probably 20 to 30-minute video. The Fiat will be the next video. That will be the next one in line. And after that, I have another project car that's actually closer to completion, ironically, than the Fiat. That'll be the next one that gets done. And then that's as far as I want to. That's as far in the future as I want to go. I don't want to overpromise because it's just getting. I'm so busy right now. I never imagined I'd be this busy in my life. We're all adults. Everyone's busy. That's not a good excuse. But I'm just saying, the Fiat. We're gonna get cracking on that when I get this other video done. So fingers crossed. In February, I will start the Fiat video series. Which will be it'll be a little bit of a series, but it's really just going to be one big video, and then maybe 2 or 3 hype videos just to sort of get some interest going about it. Did you see the Austin Dillon's 2024 Bass Pro Shop scheme? I haven't seen that one yet, but I tell you what, Bass Pro Shops always does a good job, so I am excited to see it. I always want to see his paint job, and I want to see Martin Truex Jr.'s paint scheme, because Bass Pro Shops always does a really good job. I want to see Noah Gregson's paint scheme too, because I think he's going to be a Bass Pro Shop guy, allegedly, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's going to be a Bass Pro Shop guy. Harrison's Western Clothing will be the primary sponsor for Josh Berry, and the number 4 dark horse this year says Epileptic Bumblebee. So yeah, Harrison's. They came onto the scene. The first time I remember seeing them was with Bubba Pollard. They were a big sponsor for Bubba Pollard for a long, long time. And then when Josh Berry got up to the Xfinity Series, I don't think I even see him on Bubba Pollard's car anymore, but I might be wrong. But after that, I just remember seeing them on Josh Berry. So I don't know how much Western wear they're selling, but they're selling a lot if they're sponsoring a Cup car now. So good on them, and I'm glad they're sticking with a guy from the short track. So that's really cool. Good evening, everyone. Remember those sunny days where the highs of the 90s and the humidity was 100%? At night, anything to get us through this nice, beautiful cold snap, says William Wagaman. For sure. Everybody that complained about it being too hot in the summertime, well, now we are 180 degrees in the opposite direction of that. What's the deal with SHR and sponsorship? You think they have it all sorted? Says one wise guy. I don't know, but hopefully, I don't think it's really going to affect them. I think they've got some sponsors lined up. They just haven't announced all of them yet. Like, I know for sure there's a Mobil One sponsor, and I know that Rush Trucking Center is going to sponsor Noah as well as Chase Briscoe. I just don't think they've announced all of them yet. So I guess they're just waiting. They're just waiting to announce them. Howdy from the Great White North. It's really white. Snow squalls. Just like in Buffalo, New York, go Bills. Yeah, they had to move the Bills game the other week because of the snow. Gatorade saying it's 13 here right now. Whew, chilly. About 8 degrees last night here in Bama with wind chill of like -3. We're not used to that here. LOL says Dirty Dev. Yeah, so everybody, basically everybody with a heat pump is like, oh my God, heat pumps are not set up for this type of weather. Which is an absolute fact. And most people in the South have a heat pump. So everybody, and the people that are on natural gas are like, see, we told y'all that 3 times a year when it's this cold, you guys are idiots. So those guys are having a field day with the heat pump game. Anyway, in between the lanes, I saw some of the new diecast with the Dark Horse Mustang for 2024. Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. I guess Ford's pushing that Dark Horse pretty hard. It is a cool body design that's just a little bit different from the regular Mustang. Credit on that. Come on down for Rolex. I'll buy you a beer and a shot in the infield camp area, says Rat824. I tell you what, man, if I make it down there, it's going to be for the last day. For the most part, I don't have the funding. I do have the funding. I'm saving the funding for the aforementioned project on the video I'm doing, the bigger video I'm doing. But after I get that done, some funds will free up. So I don't know. We'll have to see. But if I do go down there, I'll let everybody know. I'll let everybody know ahead of time. But right now, it's looking very doubtful. But I'm not gonna say 100% hard no, because I really, really love 24 Hours of Daytona. Fell in love with it last year when I went down there. BB, will NASCAR Cup ever race in Guam? Says OJ and Toothpaste. Never say never, but I'm gonna say never. That being said, there is one racetrack motorsports park in Guam. So there is at least one motorsports venue arena in Guam. So there's your fun fact for the day. Thought I didn't know that? You thought wrong. Getting cold in the South ain't very Christian-like, says Bumblebee. That's a fact. That's a fact. More hype going into this season. Legacy Motor Club or Jimmie Johnson's 9 races. It's interesting. Like, a lot of people are there's backlash against Jimmie Johnson for something, but a lot of people are getting super upset that Jimmie Johnson is getting backlash for driving a Toyota. Like this is some type of brand new thing. Like, anybody that drives for Toyota has always gotten backlash. So it's just it's one of those new kids on the block type deal. Like, until another manufacturer comes in there, Toyota is just going to continue to get razzed. So like I wish everybody would take the old Earnhardt mentality from back in the day, where like if you boo our guy, we're just going to laugh really hard when we win or finish in front of your guy. Like, just let it roll off your back. Don't worry about the haters, I guess is the best way of what I'm trying to say there. Today was in the mid 60s here in California. Tomorrow, the same for my birthday. Well, happy birthday there, one wise guy. Hope it is a good one, my friend. It's pretty bad when Dallas is colder than the Northeast, says PC on road. Yeah. So the funny part about Texas is, like, and I want to say maybe parts of Oklahoma too, there's like one part of Texas that's having like a normal winter, and then the upper panhandle part of Texas, they're getting blasted with cold weather. So like, it depends on what part of Texas you live in as to what the temperature is. Ryan Hall coming through again for me there. I'm sounding like an expert. I'm just totally saying what Ryan Hall says. So I'm not some weather expert. I'm just repeating what he said. Bumblebee saying happy birthday to a wise guy. I think the Camry look is similar to the Prius front ends for sure. I turned 34 last week, says B. So, yep, happy birthday to B from last week as well. OJ and Toothpaste saying, how about them Cowboys? So, yeah, the Cowboys, a playoff tradition. The Cowboys got their playoff L for the year. Thank you, Evie, says one wise guy. BB, how about them Cowboys? You're welcome, says B. 40 here. Happy belated birthday, EB. Let's see. AM not racing the 25 car until later in the season, shifting owners' points to Haley Deegan. Why would they do that? I guess they're just keeping the shift of the owner points is so that no matter what happens, Haley Deegan gets into the Daytona Busch Series or Xfinity Series race. That's partially what that's about. Now, logistically, why they're not racing until later in the season, I couldn't tell you, but that's why they're shifting the owners points over there to Haley to make sure she gets locked in to the whatever the sponsor of the Xfinity Series Daytona race is going to be. I haven't looked that up. Let's see. B saying thanks. EB34, half my age. LOL, says Mark Barnum. Global Industries is going to sponsor Kyle Busch. Says in between the lanes. Yeah, Kyle Busch getting another sponsor there. He also had this might be Global Industries, but they finally actually officially announced the nicotine gum or whatever that's going to sponsor him. So that'll be a good another relaxing product for Mr. Kyle Busch, the most relaxed man in the. Instead of the world's most interesting man, I need to do a spoof commercial of the world's most relaxed man in the Cup Series. Hopefully, this will be the last year at the Coliseum, says Joseph Wooten. I think the contract runs out after this year, so we'll have to see what happens. I was watching Mecum Auto Auctions recently, and I saw Danielle Trotta doing some commentary. Yeah, they always pull usually at least one. I've seen Jamie Little, I think, do it before. I think I've seen maybe Shannon Spake. But, yeah, they usually pull somebody over there to do that, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not Jamie Little. It's usually the Fox crew. So I want to say Shannon Spake. So maybe it was just Shannon Spake. Hero card, Dylan Selfridge. So there you go. Get the hero card going. ARCA driver Gracie Trotter and 2023 Extreme Outlaw Midget Series champion Jade. I can't say her last name for the love of me, man. Jade A. I'm just gonna go with Jade A. Racing in the. I know how to say it when the camera's not on. That's what's said. In the Winter Heat Legend Series this weekend. So yeah, I saw her. I didn't know Jade was jumping in it. But I did see Gracie Trotter saying she was first time in like 5 years that she's going to be racing one of those. And she did a super hype video. And it looks like she's put in some training too. So I think she's ready for it. I still love Wendy's, says Bumblebee. It's Roar Week, says Cody Ledger. Yeah, so the Roar before the 24. It is Roar Week. You said it. I don't care for the Coliseum. Total poo fest, says Tony Micah. They've totally. I know it's an experiment. They try different things, and I'm all for that. But they have really put a sour taste in a lot of people's mouth for this particular one. So this might be the final one, one way or the other. BB, do you think Ross Chastain gets free beer delivery weekly with Bush, says OJ and Toothpaste? I know Dale Jr. did. I know Dale Jr. when he was with Budweiser, he talks about it all the time. He got beer whenever he wanted it. They deliver it to his house. He had like some card where he would just go out there and clean out the local convenience store or whatever. So they've got some type of account charge card where it just goes back to Anheuser, and Anheuser covers it. So yeah, I think whenever he wants it, it's on tap. 32 days until Daytona, so that's crazy. It's just over a month away. 1 day over a month away, so that's crazy. Wendy's Frosty keychains are back for $3. Free Frosty with any purchase. Hey, there you go. One wise guy on top of it. The Frosties are where it's at, man. Especially now that they got this. I'm a big strawberry fan, so now that they got the strawberry Frosty, that's where it's, in my opinion, that's where it's at. What are your thoughts on Nick Saban deciding to retire from coaching from the Alabama Crimson Tide? I would have done it a long time ago. He's got nothing left to prove. Had a great career. I'm a big Duke fan, so I always thought about Nick Saban like the same way I thought about Coach K. Aside from the fact that Nick Saban didn't spend his whole career at one place, but like same difference though. I mean, just one of the best to ever do it. I know a lot of people are happy he retired because they feel like their team's got a chance now. So absolute legend. I don't think there's anything he didn't do at the college level, and he probably would have been a decent NFL coach if he had tried that more than one time. So the funny thing about that is Bill Belichick retired at the same time, and he was an assistant coach for Bill Belichick at the Browns. So they actually coached together on the Browns when Bill Belichick was the Browns coach. So that was I knew that, but I had totally forgotten about it. And seeing young Nick Saban and a young Bill Belichick in those starter jackets from the Browns era, that was I was like, man, golly, that was a long time ago. It's crazy. It's crazy how not long ago it seems until you see the pictures and you're like, dang gone, that was a long time ago. Anyway, did you ever get to the Winston Museum, or did you steer away from that project? I've got that project going too, one wise guy. That one, believe it or not, should be finished this weekend. Unfortunately, I left my camera with the footage. This sounds like Excuse Fest, because it is. I left my camera with the footage at the other studio. So once I get that camera and pull those memory cards out, I should be able to finish that one relatively quickly. So that one should be done this week, as long as I don't self-sabotage and don't get it done. So that's 100% on me. I've got the footage. But yes, I did go up there. I did get the footage for sure. Hero Card, Joe Gibbs Racing, Dylan Selfridge. So there you go. Let's see. Your next project car is in Edsel. All right, says William Wagman. I tell you what, not a lot of people like the Edsel. I like the Edsel. I thought it was. I like the design on the Edsel, and I 100% know I'm in the minority on that one. But I would do an Edsel project if one fell in my lap for free. BB, will Sammy Smith replace Bowman in the future? That's a good question. That is a good question. It just depends on. It depends on whether or not Dale Jr. comes up to the Cup Series. That would be if Jr. comes up to the Cup Series. I think Sammy Smith goes over to wherever Jr. Makes his Cup Series team. If not, then I would say Sammy Smith has a good chance of replacing somebody in the Chevrolet camp. Who it's going to be over Hendrick, we don't know, because a lot of people are like, oh, Hendrick would never let such and such go. That's true, but what if somebody makes William Byron an offer to be number one over there at Pinsky or whatever? So you just never know. You never know how things are going to play out. So all kinds of situations can arise. So and I don't think William Byron would leave. I'm just throwing it out there as food for thought. So I don't know who he would replace, but yeah, I think he would be definitely one of the drivers in line for any Chevrolet ride that opens up. It's been so cold in Key West. It's raining iguanas. Says SC. NHRA funny car driver Robert Height is not going to be participating in 2024 due to health concerns at the beginning of the season. Austin Prock will be in his funny car for the time being. So there you go. There's your NHRA news. Appreciate you there in between the lanes. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know who either of those drivers are, but I appreciate you informing the people who do know, because as far as motorsports go, the one I know the absolute least about is definitely the NHRA. I couldn't name one driver that's fairly new, that's not named Force or somebody like that. Other than the Napa guy, who every time I get on here I forget his name, but I like him a lot because he raced in the SRX. Does Kaulig have to run all the races in the 16 to keep their charter and cup in the Cup Series? That's a good question. I think they do, and I think they will run all the races. Just the races that they don't have sponsor money for, they're going to put AJ Allmendinger in, and then whoever wants to pay for the ride, those will be the rides that AJ Allmendinger is not in. And I think they've probably got 2 or 3 drivers already lined up. They're just probably waiting to announce all the rest of them. BB, what's the worst vodka out there to buy? Says OJ and toothpaste. Probably Canadian Club around here. BB, would you live in downtown San Francisco? Says OJ and toothpaste. As of right now, it would not be my first pick. It would not be my first pick. That's all I'll say about that. And that for that matter, at this point in my life, any big city is not going to be my first pick. I like being away from it all. So, but San Francisco, as far as big cities go, even if I only had to pick from big cities, would not be my first pick. Sorry I'm late. It's been a long, cold week. I just got above 0 for the first time since last Thursday. Says Mark Martin fan for life. So yeah, definitely been a serious cold snap here. We do have a thaw coming next week. So around Thursday of next week, not this coming Thursday, but next week's Thursday. I don't think the problem, according to Ryan Hall, y'all, I don't have a problem with Jimmie still racing, but I think you should be able to do that and be inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. So yeah, he'll be the second one that's been in the Hall of Fame, that's been racing. I think Jeff Gordon was already in the Hall of Fame when he started racing too, but I might be wrong about that. I'm trying to think if that's happened before. I think Jeff Gordon did, but I'm not 100% sure. I can relate. Mark Martin fan says Mark Barnum. I think having no explanation is worse than admitting it. Yeah. I'm with you, Chrome Diesel. Just come out there and say why you're not having it on Saturdays. Hall of Fame banquet on Peacock. They do not want us to watch anything on NBC, says William Wagman. Yeah, they caught a lot of grief over the Chiefs game, Chiefs versus Miami game. Same type of deal. Breaking news, BB. Not even gonna. Dejan Milovic, assistant head coach of the Golden State Warriors, passed away today at 46. Heart attack is the given cause. Rest in peace to him. So that's crazy, man. What is up? 46 is too young. So sad, man. I agree. That is crazy. Wow. And I really wish I knew his name now, because I did not know how the second half of that was going to go. So yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that name, but that's horrible. I think Joe Gibbs Racing couldn't find sponsors that weren't vices, since he is a Christian man. Kind of like Richard Petty and beer sponsors, says Peanut Butter Hero. Yeah, so Richard Petty won't put beer sponsors on the 43, or at least he wouldn't back when he had ownership of it. So you might see it now because he's just a consultant. But back in the day, the 43 was off limits. He would put it on the 42 and the 44, so he didn't have a problem with that. And when they had the 9 car, they didn't have a problem with putting Budweiser on that. But it couldn't go on the 43 because he made a promise to his mother. So that was that deal. That being said, I don't know if Joe Gibbs has ever had anything spicy. I'm trying to think of anything. A lot of people complain that M&M's was on the car because a lot of people think that American candy is poison, which a fair argument can be made for that. But I guess it just depends on your layers of what you deem that way. So I'm not even going to get into that. That's a sticky topic, so I'm just going to skip it. Trata said she signed with Motor Trend TV in 2024, so probably be seeing her do a lot of those type of auctions on there. Says Dirty Death. That's pretty cool. I think she just got married too, so congratulations to her. She either just got married or just got engaged, so congrats to her. Maybe Joe should have just said we're not putting vices on our cars. Says Peanut Butter Hero. That might be true. BB, did you watch the Kenny conversation with Kyle Larson? I haven't seen it yet. I'm about like maybe 2 or 3 months out on Kenny Wallace content. I do like his channel. Just like I go in waves of I'll watch this YouTube channel for a while, then I'll watch another one. The coach was at dinner in Utah with the other coaches and suffered a heart attack. Says one wise guy. That's crazy, man. Like that's crazy. Man, it stinks that he passed, but that's also got to be traumatic for the other guys that were sitting at that table, because you're watching your buddy like just pass in front of you. That's a rough situation all the way around. and you're just helpless because there's nothing you can do. That's a bad deal. It was a celebration. Super sad. Oh, even worse, man. Like you go into a huge situation like that with a positive mentality, and something really bad happens. That's just like, man, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Huge fan of Kyle Larson, number 5 hero card from Hendrick Motorsports. His one last season was really good. I didn't see the other ones you were talking about, but he was definitely a really good. He had a really good hero card. I don't know who they get to do their hero cards, but whoever it is, they got a good graphic designer doing those. Let's see here. Ty Norris said during the peak of Dale Jr.'s Bud days at the Bud Distributor Center in the area, said Dale Jr. was their biggest customer. In between the lanes, I saw a NASCAR race car from the museum at the auction block at Meekum. It was the Miller Lite scheme. So that's the one that he actually, unless I missed it, I don't think he actually had that one at least when I went, he didn't have that one in the museum. BD, should Bill Belichick take over to coach the 49ers next season? Heck no, man. We got one of the better coaches in the game, in my opinion. So I'm good with Kyle Shanahan. We'll stick with him. No disrespect to Bill Belichick. Let's see. As a Bama fan, we're still trying to pick up the pieces. Tough to come back down to earth after 17 years. Well, I bet, man. Like he was one of the best, dude. Like, look, I'm a Duke basketball fan, so I feel you. John Shire's doing a decent job over there, but like nobody's going to be Coach K. You know what I mean? So it's like we rode 30 some years with Coach K. So I had the best of the best, and now I got to sit through until they figure it out. Whatever's going to happen after that. The only thing I can really compare it to is like when I was a kid, there was a ton of UCLA basketball fans, and they definitely came back down to earth when John Wooden retired. So that's the only thing I really have to compare it to. But yeah, it's going to be a different deal for sure. Did you see the Chili Bowl was cutting down on cheating, something electronic or smartwatches? I didn't see that. I just remember that the guy that won, it was his second win. Where did I threw it away? Dadgummit. It was his second win, which puts him in rare company. But even rare company were the people that had won it multiple times, like Sammy and Kevin Swindell. I think Sammy won it 5 times. Kevin maybe 3 or 4. Christopher Bell 3 or 4. And Kyle Larson and Tony Stewart. And there was a bunch of guys, not a bunch of guys, but there were some guys with 2s, and he joined the company, the guys that had won it 2 times. But the people that had won it 3 or 4 times, it was like I think there was only 4 of them, and I think I named off 3, and I can't call the other one off the top of my head. But let's see here. I hate being a Bowman fan because nobody gets as much crap as he does. I would say him and Suarez but for sure, it feels like even it's like Bowman just signed a multi-year contract, and everybody's like, he's on the hot seat again. He signed a multi-year contract. It feels like I feel like Alex Bowman and Daniel Suarez could sign an 8-year contract, and the very next year they're on the hot seat. They're on the hot seat, but it is what it is. He's won 8 races. He's not a bad driver. And last I checked, Chase Elliott didn't win last year in the same equipment. Says Bumblebee. So there you go. There you go. Both John Force racing drivers, by the way, says in between the lanes. Ron Capps. That's I always forget Ron Capps' name for some reason. Let's see. No SRX is a bummer. Yeah, the SRX going away. That's definitely some of the worst news of all time. I live in California, and I wouldn't live in San Francisco. Yeah, they really let it go downhill. Used to be one of the nicest places you could live in, Gaslight District and all that stuff. Now it's just not what it once was. We'll be polite. BB was Kevin Conway, one of the best NASCAR drivers in history, you think? Hard to say because they pulled the sponsor out from underneath of him. But what I can tell you is that on Earth 2, Kevin Conway has 3 championships and Extends is still a company that exists because its product worked, even though on Earth 2, nobody needs it. The Bills are going to send the Chiefs home on Sunday. Says Bruce, technically on Earth 2, you wouldn't want it to work since everything's backwards, right? I don't know. That's a mind bender right there, isn't it? Let you guys think on that one. The Bills are going to send the Chiefs home on Sunday. Says Bruce Reed. That's going to be an interesting game. Like the Chiefs did not look good all season. Then they came in there and looked like world beaters. So which Chiefs team are you going to get? The Bills have pretty much done the same thing all season. They get off to like a really hot start, and then can they hold on to it? So I think that's going to be a really interesting game. I don't know who's going to win. I'm pulling for the Bills personally because it's like, aside from the 49ers, it's one of the secondary teams I pull for. I'm kind of pulling for Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just because I like Baker Mayfield, because I feel like everybody disrespects him and he just goes in there and he's not the greatest. He's not even close to like the greatest quarterback in the world, but he's got fight, and I like it. So I like to pull for him. He kind of reminds me of Jim McMahon from the Bears. He wasn't like the best quarterback you've ever seen, but the dude just really, really wanted to win. Let's see. Toyota is going to be a problem for Chevy and Ford this season. I agree with you, One Wise Guy. I agree with you 100%. I think Toyota is going to have a big year, and I said that on the preview. So I am on record as saying it. What new team has an alliance with the RFK? Who were the alliance? RFK picked up 2 more drivers and a new team, right? Sounds like Front Row Motorsports had to go. It's hard to say. I don't know why. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Was it a financial decision from Front Row, or was it a situation like you're saying where they felt like they weren't getting as good equipment as somebody else? I know I want to say Rick Ware Racing is in an alliance with them, but I don't know. So it's hard to say. Hero card request, Joe Gibbs Racing from Dylan Selfridge. So there you go. Hopefully Dylan gets the hero card from there, Joe Gibbs there. Is NASCAR striking other channels still? I think they got that figured out. Last I heard, everybody that got a strike got it overturned. So I think they're good now. Bubba and Suarez going to have a good season. At least I hope. Says Disco. I think Bubba's going to have a really good season. I'm with you. I hope Suarez is going to have a really good season. Suarez is a wild card. He could either make the playoffs or he's always going to be like the 18th or 17th guy. Like it's always on the cusp with him. So at some point, I'm hoping he just has that breakout season, just like Ross Chastain finally had that breakout season after he left the 42. Wise Guy, it wasn't NASCAR. It was an automated system, says Mark Martin fan for life. So yeah, it was. But I think it was like a NASCAR automated system that they checked the wrong box on, essentially. So I think that's actually what happened. Do you think this is Harrison Burton's last season in the 21, says One Wise Guy? If he doesn't show anything, I do think it's going to be his last season. Because that'll be 3 seasons, and if you don't show anything in 3 seasons in the Cup Series, you're probably not going to stay there unless you've got a ton of money behind you. And I don't think he's got a ton of money behind him. I think he's got enough money to be there, but I think if they get somebody who they think has a brighter future with more money behind him, I think he's gone, and he's got to show something this season, and I hope he does. Because I think he's a good kid. I think he came up a little bit too early, but I do think he's a good kid and he's got potential. Bowman is not exactly a sponsor magnet. He has as much personality as warmed over oatmeal, says Sheldon Williams. He's got a lot of personality. He just doesn't let it shine on the camera because his personality is not sponsor friendly, would be my guess. That's just me taking a guess there. Stewart House Racing is going to have a resurgence this season and going to win some races and get 2 drivers into the playoffs, says Bruce Reed. I agree with you. I don't know about 2 drivers in the playoffs, but I do think they'll get a driver, at least 1 driver in the playoffs, and I do think for sure that they are going to have a resurgence. I agree with you there. Andy Reid likes to eat cheeseburgers, says in between the lanes. That's just mean. Let's see. I didn't know that Eminem fan, says One Wise Guy. I like Motor City Dan Campbell. He's good, man. He's fun. He was fun when he was the interim coach for Miami. I couldn't believe they let him I thought they should have kept him when he was the interim coach at Miami, I thought, but then they let him go. Do you think we could get a IROC Racing Series race this summer? I don't know about this summer, but they did say that they are going to have one. They are going to have – oh, look at that. The poll auto finished. So if you leave it up for more than 24 hours, it auto finishes. So there you go. Good idea was 67%. Bad idea was 32%. Let's see. But yeah, they are going to have an IROC race at some point next year. So we will see one. I just don't know if it's going to be in the summertime or not. Summertime would seem to be the best fit, though. So I would bet if I'm a betting man, I would bet that. Driver number 21, Dylan NASCAR, says Dylan Selfridge. Ford has them lined up on the developmental side, says One Wise Guy. Dylan Selfridge, driver of the number 21, Dylan NASCAR. Sorry I'm late. What's up, everyone? What's up, Like Just Like? Good to have you on here, my friend. Deal or no deal. took place of the Chiefs-Dolphins game Saturday night. I mean, it's just pulling in better ratings in between the lanes. Like, this is what I don't understand. You're in TV to make money. If you want to make money from sponsors, which you're going to make more money from sponsors than you're ever going to make on the streaming side of it, at least as it stands right now, you put your biggest game with the most sponsor money behind it on TV, or whatever your high, in this situation it's a game, but you put your more higher rated TV show on instead of putting Deal or No Deal. So it's a disaster. It's a disaster, man. I don't get it. If you're going to do streaming, you're better off doing streaming with nothing but sports and movies, and then putting all your TV shows on your regular channel. Like, that would be their best bet. So I don't know. The whole streaming deal, it's a disaster. It's a complete disaster. I saw a picture of the Dark Horse Mustang as an NHRA funny car. I haven't seen that one yet, but I did see today that they had a Ford Lightning Raptor. It's either Car and Driver or Motor Trend. They were the ones being paid to write the article about it, and it was the most crazy thing of all time. You know, like they always like to hype it up. So there is a Ford Lightning, the electric F-150 Raptor out there now. So there you go. Try not to trample each other as you run out the door to go buy one, because I know all the electric cars are in high demand, especially when it's this cold outside. Because I also saw a thing in Philadelphia where all the Teslas and stuff were getting towed because the charging stations weren't working in sub 5 degree weather. So there you go. Add that to the list of grievances that people have against electric cars. Let's see. Disney, ESPN has never turned a profit. Disney and can't wait for the 49. I hope so, man. How's that electric working out for you? Says one wise guy. Yeah, it's like I said, like I'm not an electric car hater, but I'm also not unrealistic. Like, I think big cities would be the perfect place to have an electric car because you're just commuting short distances and it would clean the air up in the big cities. But I think outside of that, just let everybody else have gasoline. And everybody, even people I know that own electric cars, they're like, they're not built for road trips. So, and I know a lot of YouTubers, because it makes good YouTube content, have taken road trips on them and have made it look as good as possible. They're like, oh, waiting 15 or 20 minutes here to get a charge was no big deal because I had this cup of coffee and this, that, and the other thing. But at the end of the day, it's a tool like a hammer. And you wouldn't pull out a hammer to put a screw down. So for like long trips, electric cars are not great. But if you commute only in the city, I think electric cars are good. And I think the best overall car, personally, is going to be the hybrid, because you're going to get the fuel mileage, you're going to get more power. So I think the actual future of cars in the short run, next 10 years, you're going to see a lot of hybrid technology just like really take off. Like, we've already seen it take off in motorsports, in endurance racing and stuff like that. So I think the way it has finally played out, I think we're going to see hybrid be the most important thing for the longest here. Good point. Larson is the only Hendrick with a look of personality. It's good that Chase is the most popular driver because his interviews are boring. Says Sheldon Williams. Yeah, Chase Elliott is a super duper introvert. He does not like talking in front of a camera. Let's see. Dylan Suffrage, huge fans. Kyle Larson. So there you go. Dylan likes old Kyle Larson. Let's see. I will have a combustion engine until I die. EV technology is not there right now. So just, well, yeah, I think that's fair to say. It's all based on infrastructure. Yeah, I agree. Like 100% Cody Ledger. The infrastructure is not set up for it yet either. I mean, that's 100% accurate. The grid isn't set up for this either. Yeah. So the only way we're getting, what do they want to push it? Like 2030? Did they want everything to be electric by 2030? Unless they're going to put up like 10, nuclear power plants in the next few years, I don't think we're going to see that happen. Trip from California to Washington takes 10 hours with Tesla, and charge time took 36 hours on a test. So there you go. There you go. That's crazy. That is crazy. That's not good. Watch the Dolphins. The problem with electric cars is getting them on the freeway, because once you get them up to like 70 miles per hour, like the battery drains faster. It's like when you flip your drill over to setting 2 or 3, however fast your drill goes, you notice the battery dies faster than in setting 1. So you get more power and it goes faster, but it drains the battery quicker too. Watch the Dolphins Chiefs at a local establishment, not paying for Prime. Says Delmar Kaufman. So yeah, maybe that's the one good thing about them forcing people to try to get subscriptions or whatever. Maybe the good outcome of that is people will actually go out and watch it at their local areas, and that'll generate some local money for the economy until they figure out the streaming deal. EVs are useless with deep freeze like we've seen the past days, says Chrome Diesel. Yeah, that's for sure as it stands right now. So they figure something out. Woohoo! Got you live. Been a while since Dennis Gillespie. Good to have you. Good to have you back on the live there, Dennis. Elite, what's up, my man? Always good to see Elite on here. Check out his channel. Always doing good things over there. And if you like his content, of course, give him a thumbs up and a subscribe. Let's see. Ford and Chevy pretty much has backed out fully electric vehicles. Throw Honda in that mix too. So Honda, what do people? I follow this stuff a little bit. I'm not like a super expert on it, but Honda and General Motors were going in to build an electric battery system platform, kind of like the old Corolla and the Geo. Was it the Geo Metro? Geo Prism, and the Toyota Corolla for like the longest time were the same car, just like the Pontiac Vibe and the Toyota Matrix were the same car. And just further proof that General Motors is unorganized. General Motors, those are the best-selling cars for Toyota. The Corolla was for the longest time. General Motors stopped making theirs, even though it was bulletproof and it would never, ever, ever die on you. So it's just anyway. Back to my point though. General Motors and Honda were working on a platform, and they both said, "We're putting it off until we see the market pick up, because nobody is buying the electric cars." So a lot of people that were all in on it are sort of taking their foot out of the water now. Going to be really interesting to see what Volvo does too. I know this is NASCAR, American Motorsports Channel, but Volvo was like, we're going fully electric by 2030. So we'll see if Volvo follows through with that, because that's going to be interesting for all these companies that made big promises. Chevrolet said they were going all electric by 2030 because Mary Bear is a moron. Hey Elite, what's up? Says Chrome Diesel. What's up Elite? Says B. Red Bull Ring says Mark 63. So there you go. How about the fact you can't put a fire out for 3 days on EVs? Yeah, that's bad too. That's always been a situation, and everybody pushing the hydrogen, the hydrogen fuel cells. Wait till you see what happens when they go wrong. Hertz, Hertz is selling 20K EVs. Says Mark Barnett, and people still aren't buying them. That's the crazy thing. Hertz and what's the other one? I don't know, but they've got everybody. CarMax, I want to say, they've got everybody up in arms because allegedly there's going to be a massive fallout in the used car market and stuff like that. Electric cars are not good for pedestrians. Cars are too quiet. It's dangerous, says Sheldon Williams. That's another factor a lot of people don't think about. The I guess the ergonomics of it. So Elite saying what's up to everyone, and Dennis Gillespie having a laugh there about the 3 days. Wait till you see what hydrogen does, because hydrogen is the next thing they tried to push. I'm surprised Hertz is still afloat. Hertz and CarMax, they're not doing as good as they would like to be doing right now. They probably have coffers and coffers of money though, so they'll probably be all right for a little while. Every stream turns into EV talk. Let's talk about your Daytona 500 predictions. So there you go. That's a good poll. We'll at least end this with a poll. Let's see here. Start a poll. And to be clear, I like EVs. I just they're not where they need to be yet to take over. I do want to make that clear. First race car I ever built as an actual competition was an EV too, by the way. Let's see. You know what? I only have 4 options, so I'm gonna go. Here's how we'll do it. We'll go Chevy. We'll go Ford. There we go. We're going to go with make first, and I'm going to make this a quick poll. And whichever make we pick, that's the driver. That's the 4 drivers I'm going to sort through. So you got, let's see, it's 8:55 right now. At 9 o'clock, I'm going to close this poll, and whichever one you pick from in this list here is going to be the 4 drivers I put up from that manufacturer. And the teams that get no manufacturer love, that would be like JTG Doherty and Front Row Motorsports, teams like that. So let's see here. By the way, probably won't have 1,000 horsepower in NASCAR until they switch to hybrid, says Elite. Yeah, that's pretty good point. It's basically free horsepower. So the people that are against hybrids, they need to really look at things that are not even, well, the new Prius has like 200 and some horsepower, but it's not like the old Prius where it had no horsepower, no get up. Like the new hybrids, they're pretty sick. Every team turns, so I just read that one. Pick Enterprise, that'll pick you up, says like dislike. That's for sure. That's the old Dale Jr. commercial back in the day. This is Mei Ling. She's from Enterprise Rent-A-Car. I just remember it was always Mei Ling. It was how he said that was really funny. And I'm country too, but even me being as country as I am, when he said Mei Ling, I was like, dang. I was like, I bet that's how I sound to other people. Jesse Love has the same scheme as Sheldon Creed did for RCR. That's pretty cool. Let's see. That's going to be an interesting story. Xfinity is going to be spicy this year with that particular storyline. Enterprise is selling off their fleet too, says one wise guy. So if you need a Chevy Malibu, now is the time to buy one, because they are. That's pretty sure that's what kept the Chevy Malibu afloat. Because every year I look at how many Malibus are sold, and I'm like, man, they have got to be fleet cars. Because I don't feel like that many people are buying them brand new for their personal vehicles. But you can get a really good price on the Chevy Malibu. You're welcome, Chevrolet. Feel free to sponsor me. Let's see. I was laughing at what you said, but it's all good, says Dennis Gillespie. Blaney for the Daytona 500 win. EV. Chase Elliott's going with Chase Elliott for the win there. Two good picks. Both of them really good. I think Blaney has the best numbers. Either Blaney or Bubba Wallace has the best plate numbers. I can't remember off the top of my head. What they don't realize is that with the manufacturing process, battery materials, it takes 7 years for EVs to be better for the environment than ICE. I guess how long the battery lasts, exactly 7 years. That's a fair point. There is at least for the hybrid version or the Toyota Prius hybrid, Chris Fix has a video on how to replace your battery there. David McSwain, what's up, my friend? Good evening. Just came in for 44 minutes. What's up? Not an EV person. I like EVs. I don't have a problem with them. I just don't think it's there yet, unless you live in the city and you're making short runs. I don't think the technology is there yet for it to take over, because most people that I know that have EVs, they have another car too for like road trips and longer trips. But it's like anything else. I mean, back in the day, because it's battery powered, I always equate it to power tools. Like back in the day, when you pulled out your DeWalt 12 or 18 volt drill, I can't remember what they were, back when they were the nickel-cadmium batteries. All the old timers on the job site were like, "Oh, I'll put that piece of trash down. It ain't got enough power to do nothing." And they were right. It didn't. Like the ones you plug into the wall were kicking their butt. But as the technology evolved through power tools, now you see just about everybody going cordless, because having the cord, tripping over the cord became a pain in the butt, because nobody knows proper cord safety to throw the cord over your shoulder, which really irritates me. When I was on job sites back in the day, I was like, throw the damn cord over your shoulder so you don't fall down with the saw. Anyway, now that I'm off that rant, eventually the battery technology, to bring this to a point, the battery technology caught up. So I think if you have the electric cars long enough, they'll get better and better. I don't know that they'll ever completely replace internal combustion engines, but I do think for certain people in certain situations they could. But we're just not there just yet. Number 43 back in victory lane at Daytona. I like how you're thinking there, Delmar Kaufman. NASCAR has so much contact. Electric cars seem like they catch fire, aka a death trap. Oh yeah. So as far as us having electric race cars, I don't know that we'll ever see that happen. In the Cup Series, there might be electric series, but it'll be completely separate. I mean, God, people, things evolve. LOL, says V. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're not there yet, but they will be possibly if they stick with it one day. It just depends. They've had an electric push before. The Great Eight back to victory lane at the Daytona 500. That's who I'm picking. I'm with you there like this. Like I got Kyle Busch winning the Daytona 500. So that's my particular pick. All right, here we are, 9 o'clock. So let me end this poll. And it looks like who won this thing here? Chevrolet. So Chevrolet won. So I'm going to put up some random Chevrolet drivers. It's not a Q&A, it's drivers. All right, so we go. And I misspelled something somewhere in there. Who wins Daytona? Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, William Byron, or Chase Elliott Jr. So there you go. Those are your options. Let me get up here to the chat where I left off because I forgot where I was at. I don't think we've ever reached 1,000 horsepower, says Chrome Diesel. It depends on who you ask. There's a few guys back in the day that said that some of those engines had right at 1,000 horsepower. So I don't know. It just depends on who you ask. I know back in the day when they had qualifying engines, I bet you some of those qualifying engines had 1,000 horsepower. If you remember the really old days, and Sheldon Williams said, do you think we'll ever see 1,000 horsepower in NASCAR again? Like that's a lot of people have said we had 1,000 horsepower. I know almost for certain that when they had the qualifying engines and they pulled they usually just did it for Daytona and Talladega. You would qualify on one engine, pull that engine out, and then put the race engine in. I bet you money some of those qualifying engines, if you took the restrictor plate off of them, I bet you they had 1,000 horsepower. Chevy is due, says Duke Chronic. BB, should Warburton replace Mike Joy in the Fox booth next contract? I would love it, man. Put Warburton anywhere. Let's see. Dylan Suffrage Hero Card request 2311 Racing. So there you go. Hopefully you get that one as well. NASCAR is against horsepower at all costs, says Joseph Wooden. I don't think NASCAR is necessarily against horsepower. I think they have a partner they're talking to that might come in and be a new manufacturer that doesn't want the horsepower above a certain horsepower, and I think that's the main issue. But NASCAR won't come out and say it. David Reagan for the 500 win, says T-Van, twin turbos or hybrid, says Sheldon Williams. That's for sure. Guys, did I miss anything important, says Lovey Barkley? Well, if you're coming to this live stream, there's never anything important or informative. I would never laugh at what you said. It was how you said it. It was funny. I love your show. It's great and informative. Says Dennis Gillespie. So there you go. Dennis thinks I'm informative, so I appreciate it. Yeah, it's all good. How many total Toyotas will field the Daytona 500 this year? I did look at it. I think it's going to be 15 or 16 Fords. And let's see, 4 from 2311 and Legacy, 4 from Joe Gibbs. That gives you 8. So it's 8. Is it 8? Am I missing? Who am I missing? They'll be the 67, so that'll be 9. They'll run somebody in the 67. And is there going to be Jimmy Johnson? So 10. There will be 10 Toyotas. 10 Toyotas. Let's see. I'm glad I got the V8 Tundra and not the new V6 twin turbo. Been seeing lots of them and people having issues with them, says OJ and Toothpaste. Yeah, I think that's something that hurt a lot. There's nothing wrong with a twin turbo V6, but for a truck, and most people want to keep their trucks for like a really long time. The problem with any type of turbo is that it's going to wear out eventually and you're going to have to get it replaced. So even if it's perfectly good and especially, like ask any diesel owner, they get the turbo rebuilt before they ever have to do anything with the engine. The turbo is always going to be the weak point, and when you've got 2 of those turbos on a V6, it's eventually going to wear out before the engine will, right? So, and it's just as expensive to fix as the engine is. So that's I like simplicity. I don't like complexity in a work vehicle, which I still think trucks are work vehicles. I know not everybody sees it that way anymore. Anyway, let me get off that rant. Chris Buescher is my pick, says Mark63. Chris Buescher is a good pick. Anybody from the RFK camp, because Brad Keselowski's good at plate tracks too. Daytona, Denny Hamlin winning number 11. So there you go. Denny Hamlin, always a good pick for any super speedway, and usually a pretty good pick for any racetrack. He's a pretty good race car driver, regardless of how many people dislike his personality. B, have you seen the Scotty Kilmer and Chris Fix parodies? They are hilarious. No, but I'm going to have to go check them out. That is, I haven't seen. I want to see a Scotty Kilmer parody because I want to see if he could actually be any funnier than the actual Scotty Kilmer. But yeah, Chris Fix. I need to go check out the. I need to check out the parody accounts there. The Tesla owners don't really own the cars because they are not allowed to modify it, says Duke Chronic. The most eco-friendly method of transport you will ever get, and it's been proven for a century, is overhead electric train, says Chrome Diesel. I mean, and nobody, I'm not going to get into it because that really, I was going to say something and I'm glad I thought about it because it gets super political. So I'm going to stay away from that. BB, have you ever rented a car and beat the blank out of it, taking it off road, drag racing it, doing donuts, says OJ and Toothpaste? I mean, that's what the $10 insurance is for. I'm not going to confirm or deny that. I'm just going to say buy the $10 insurance. BB, I've had a few beers. Everything I say don't come out right, says Dennis Gillespie. We've all been there, brother. Or at least most of us have. Best way to extend your EV mileage is to put a gas generator in the trunk, says Mark Barnum, which is funny. There's a lot of memes about that on the internet, too. Wednesday Night Live with your host, Bologna Burger, says In Between the Lanes. I appreciate it. Welcome to Wednesday Night Live. I'm Chevy Chase, and you're not. It would be dope to see Larson win the 500. He came so close in 2017, but ran out of gas, and Kurt Busch won. Yeah, like it's just going to be a crapshoot. Like I still think it's going to be Kyle Busch one of these next few years. I think this is going to be like he's going to he puts a lot of effort into every race, but I think he's really going to focus super heavy, and he's with the right team. They love focusing on Daytona too with RCR, so I think they're going to pull it off here before too long. It'll be 10 to 15 years, maybe before car batteries get good enough, like power tools, like you said. Yeah, I'm right there with you, David. I think they'll put the time and energy, and they'll get the technology there, but it's going to take them quite a bit of time, I think. Lovey Barkley, Denny Hamlin will win a championship before Kyle Larson gets a super speedway win. That's as a Kyle Larson fan, that's a fair point. BB, if Kyle Larson won the Indy 500, would he not make it in time to race the Coke 600? That's a fact. But you know what? At that point, would it matter? Like if I won the Indy 500, Coke 600 is cool, but it ain't the Indy 500. So like, I would make my peace with it. I guess that's all I would say. I'm glad they're bringing back IROC, and I'm going to miss SHR racing. Yeah, I'm glad they're bringing back IROC too, and you meant SRX. I'm pretty sure you probably got the typo. Autocorrect gets me all the time too. Yeah, the SRX. It stinks that they're going away. Toyota announces no more V8s in the Tundras and 4-cylinder 2.7 turbo for the Tacoma. They've had a 2.7 for a while. I guess they're sticking a turbo on it. I know some of the older Tacomas had 2.7s, but they didn't have the turbo. So that's interesting. How will that affect the TRD side of NASCAR? I don't think it'll hurt it too bad because they'll figure out a way to soup those things up. Honda's notorious. Honda's made nothing but basically 4 cylinders in their performance cars for the longest. I know they got V6s. I'm just saying in their performance car, it's normally a 4-cylinder. And they found ways to soup them up and hype them up. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. Honda Ridgeline racing, the Honda Ridgeline body racing a lot in off-road. So Honda is going all in on their I know people are going to be mad because I call it a truck, but Honda going all in on their truck. So keep your eyes peeled. Maybe Honda gets maybe Honda sees another way to sell that truck in another series. BB, what's the worst NASCAR race you've ever watched? The Indy race where they could only go like 8 laps without changing tires before they had to change tires. Besides the Truck Championship in 2023, that wasn't even close to as bad as that IndyCar race was. Let's see. Maurice Petty engine in the 83 Charlotte race May had 1,000 horsepower, says Delmar Kaufman. It's probably no doubt about that. HMS sucks, says I like dislike. He got his HMS sucks for the day in. Have you seen the new designs for the 2024 cars? I've seen a few of them. I haven't seen all of them just yet. Denny Hamlin, as far as the paint schemes, I've seen the overall design. Denny Hamlin, number 11 picks. Daytona 500 from Dylan Selfridge. Didn't DW explode a maxed out motor when crossing the finish line once? Says Brickyard Brickhead. Yeah, that was old Junior Johnson up to his chicanery as usual. Let's see. After this year, we can bring the Clash back to Daytona and have speed weeks again. I wish, but I don't think it's going to happen. Did anything come out of the Arizona practice? I never heard anything. I don't know if anything came from the practice, but they have released the new short track. I made a video on it and I showed it, but it's basically it's going to be a bigger spoiler, and they did a different front lip or the front splitter. So that's the new short track package / road course package. Brickyard DW blew up a cheated motor. Dale Jr. Engine number 2 or engine number 21, I believe. It's a great story. Hey, BB, it's late. It is a true NASCAR, isn't it? Going to let fans watch the qualifying races at the Clash. I don't know. I don't know. I'm worried Daytona 500 is becoming just another race. Just look how common we have underdog winners now, and ending under caution going a lot past the scheduled distance, says Chrome Diesel. Yep. Scotty Kilmer parody. I think Daytona 500 will always be a big deal. It's always going to be super awesome. But I do wish they would get the rules figured out for sure. I'm with you on that. Scotty Kilmer parody says OJ and toothpaste. BB, how many wins do you think 2311 gets this year? I would say 3 or 4. I would say a solid 3 or 4 wins for 2311. I think that's where I'm going to go with that one. In between the lanes, I'm with you, BB, on Rowdy finally winning the Daytona 500. Almost did it last year. I would love to see Martin Truex Jr. Win a Daytona 500 as well. Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool for sure. I'm thinking this is going to be Kyle Busch's year, and I've said it before. I'm going to pick him every year until he wins it. I wasn't sure if I wanted to type wins or races, so I accidentally typed wins 2 times. Says I love you. That's all good, my friend. BB, will Zane Smith have a good season this year? I think Zane Smith will have a great season. I think all the rookies will have a great season. I think it's going to be a pretty good Rookie of the Year battle. Joe Gibbs shelved the number 18, gave Tyler 54. I think they have hopes of getting KB back next contract season. Says Sheldon. I don't think they want him back. And I'll just be totally honest with you. I think they would have kept him if it was convenient, but I didn't feel like they put on the full – they tried hard to keep him. But I don't think they put on the full court press to keep him, in my opinion. I don't know anything about it internally. And this is a fair thing as an organization. At some point, you have to get younger. You watched Hendrick do it. Hendrick, with all the guys they got now, at one point, all those guys were super young. And so Hendrick had to go through the growing pains of it. Joe Gibbs Racing at some point is going to have to do it. So they've already got Christopher Bell, and now they've got Ty Gibbs. So they're starting to slowly phase out the older drivers over there at Joe Gibbs Racing. So I think at the end of the day, it was a tough executive decision, but I think they decided getting younger wasn't as bad as having to. They didn't have to put on the full court press. Yes, they wanted to keep Kyle Busch, but if he got away, they know they have to get younger at some point anyway. So it was ripping the Band-Aid off the wound. At some point, you got to do it, right? So that's the way I saw it. In between the lanes, I would like to see Martin Truex Jr. win the 500. So there you go. That's 2 votes for Martin Truex Jr. KB isn't going back to Gibbs, says B. BB, what is the next IROC car? That's a good question. That is a good question. And I think that's one of the things that really hurt the SRX deal. Like, they didn't get Dodge or anybody else to come on board and be the car. Like, that's a great opportunity to get some money flowing into the sport. Like, if you run all Dodge Chargers or you run all like whatever, just whatever. Name the brand. Are there any cars left, though, is the problem. Like, run really the funniest thing would have been just run all Teslas and make them gas. That would have been pretty funny. I could see somebody crazy like Elon doing that. Mustangs are still available, Chevrolet Malibus. Like, that's part of the problem, though, right? Like, if you're going American car, there's only a handful left to pick from, and if you're going to go and pick a foreign manufacturer, people are going to raise Cain that they're all racing Hondas. I ain't watching that crap. Like, so you're up against it. But either way, it's good to have that money coming in. So I don't know. It's one of those deals. But I think that's one of the things that sunk the SRX series. They didn't have a manufacturer. They just ran clone cars, and I think that did hurt it a little bit. At the very least, get a manufacturer for the engine. Be like, all right, we're all running Dodge engines, even though Dodge doesn't have cars right now. We're all running Dodge engines, so you at least would have that brand loyalty, so people would watch it and stuff like that. BB, will Snoop cereal be the number 1 cereal in the world? I don't know. It's a Post cereal. Post makes it. So even though it's like Master P and Snoop Dogg as the company. Post Cereal is who actually makes it. So is Post going to outsell General Mills is the real question before we can say who is the number one cereal. But the Snoop Loops with marshmallows, that's the go-to. That's the best one. You think Fruit Loops are good and you think marshmallows might be like a little too much sugar to add to it? Absolutely wrong. The marshmallows, man, that really makes it pop. So the Snoop Loops with the marshmallows, that's, man, I'm telling you, dude, that's the way to go. Let's see. I lost my place. CPK Diecast made a video about the 2023 championship disaster. I suggest y'all check it out. Hey, so there you go. Check out CPK Diecast. Check out their video. OJ, Caitlin Clack Crunch is the cereal to buy now. I'm not familiar with that one. Let's see. They had one motor at DEI that had a perfect set of matched heads. Everything they can do that'll never be duplicated. It won almost every race they put the motor in. Hey, so there you go. There you go. They spent probably so much money on that one engine. You guys talking about horsepower? What about the Wood brothers? David Pearson. They only ran certain races. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was part of their strategy. That's the flip side because there's always the Richard Petty, David Pearson argument. That's always the flip side I throw out to people. I'm like, look, they could R&D for like three weekends in a row to win one race. And so, like, yeah, David Pearson had a better head-to-head, but he wasn't running a full season like Richard Petty was running. So in that aspect, it could be a huge advantage. Like if I only have to practice for certain tracks, so I only have to be good at certain tracks. So back then, to me, that would have been an advantage. BB, would you trust a quart of oil in your car from Dollar Tree? Hell to the no. Absolutely not. Mark Barnum, never heard of it till now, says OJ and Toothpaste. It would be nice to see the Monte Carlo come back. Oh, man, that would be really cool. I'm with you on that one, Lovey. Would love to see the Monte Carlo come back. Those were some of the cleanest, smoothest looking cars of all time. Cool, the 24 and the 5, says OJ, especially those 70s and 80s models of the Monte Carlo, man, they were pretty sweet. Probably the 72. The 72 is good, and then the Aero Coupe are probably my two favorites. But man, there wasn't too many ugly Monte Carlos, except for ironically the second to last body style with the weird headlights and the rear end that didn't match. I don't know. I love a BB shirt. The best two amendments are the first two. Says Glock, I appreciate you there, my friend. What's up, everyone? Finally made it to a weeknight live stream. Says Glock. Maybe the Monte Carlo thing was the 2000s. In my blood talking, says Lovey. Yeah, those were the 98 to 2000, and then there was like the weird year where they had the I don't know, the round part in the headlight, and then they had the two things coming off of it. I didn't love that, but then when they put basically the Impala headlights on the front end of it, man, it looked pretty mean when they went to that. But it to each their own. But to be fair, the Tasmanian Devil SS Dale Earnhardt editions and stuff like that, those all had the circle headlight with the thing trimmed out on the side. So, but they had the body kit on them. And the Pontiac Grand Prix, they were hit or miss as well in that particular era. Basically the same platform. KB is probably tired of wearing the black hat, and if you go back to Toyota fans, might put that on him. That's for sure. That was the funniest thing Dale Jr. said last season when he was talking about Carl Edwards coming back to NASCAR, and he was like, "Kyle Busch gets cheers now. What happened?" And Dale Jr. goes, "He went back to Chevrolet and RCR, and all is forgiven." So that was probably the funniest thing I heard Dale Jr. say last year. Petty Brothers could have supplied Dodge engines for SRX if they would went that route, says Delmar Kaufman. That would have been the ultimate, in my opinion. BD, should Carl Long get a full-time Cup ride? I think he's done. He's pulled out. But Carl Long, I watched him drive at the local short track. That dude could wheel a car. Unfortunately, he never had anything. He never drove anything that he could show that in the Cup Series. But I think in his prime, Carl Long definitely deserved a full-time Cup ride. On Earth 2, though, my man Carl Long is an absolute legend. He's another 7-time Earth 2 champion. Let's see, and we've got so many 7-time champions on Earth 2 that have obviously in one year we run 3 or 4 seasons in a year. It's like dirt. We'll just run 30 races and then we'll run 30 more. Just squeeze in as many races as we can in a year. Glad to see OJ and Mark, One Wise Guy, and of course Bumblebee says Glock. So he's saying what's up to everybody. What about the Chevelle? Actually saw a prototype drawing a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I keep seeing a bunch of those, and I never know which ones are real and which ones are fake. But they got some good ones out there for sure. Let's see. Mark Barnum dropping a link, so go check him out. That's the I think the cereal that he was talking about earlier. What up, Glock? Says Mark Barnum. I wonder what a primary scheme would look like from Jersey Mike's. I've seen a Jersey Mike's car. I'm just trying to remember who it was on. It was on Allmendinger's Celsius Chevy Camaro ZL1 1LE. ZL1 1LE Chevrolet with the name in, man. God, they got to work on it. At the Roval playoff in 2023. Yeah, I've seen a Jersey Mike's car before. I'm trying to remember where I saw it. I want to say it was at Langley. Who was driving that thing? Who had the Jersey Mike sponsorship? Anyway, I'll have to think. It was on a late model car. They were racing. Brendan McQueen was the track champion that year at Langley. Oh God, who drove the Jersey Mike's car? Oh man, somebody save me. Anyway, BD is Teresa Earnhardt, one of the nicest human. Brendan McQueen, always call him Brendan McQueen because of Lightning McQueen from the Cars movie. BD is Teresa Earnhardt, one of the nicest humans in the world. You think? I think it's universal on Earth 1 and 2. She's going to be the same person, and I'll leave it at that. Seen Carl Long flip at Rockingham, says Delmar Kaufman. And what, didn't Steve Park flip at Rockingham too, or was that Jeff Burton? The last race at Rockingham in the Cup Series, somebody flipped. Was it Jeff Burton? Who flipped it? Who flipped at Rockingham? Glocktopus, good to see y'all on here too. Discord, everyone needs to join. Yeah, so if somebody wants to drop the Discord link, Bologna Burger Stand, I think is the name of it. So come join us up on Discord. We talk just a lot of random stuff. So definitely check it out. It's just a good time. It's good fun. So let's see here. Dale Jr. predicted the future because he said he was sending NASCAR to Atlanta for the first race of the season, and now Atlanta is race number 2. Hey, so there you go. Lovey, Dale Jr. Calling the future there. Ford got the new Taurus in the Middle East and China. Oh, look at that. So the Ford Taurus does still live. The Chevrolet Lumina lived for a long time in the Saudi Arabia area as well, or the Middle East, I should say. It lived on for a long time. It was either the Lumina or the Caprice, but it was basically, I think it was the Chevy Caprice, like the Chevy Caprice cop car that looked like the Pontiac G8. It was the Chevrolet Lumina in the Middle East, I want to say. So there you go. We're getting some random facts here today, and I love it. That's these are the best live streams when you get the trivial random knowledge in my head that sometimes is actually right. BB, is Jersey Mike's better than Subway? Yeah, I like Jersey Mike's better. But Subway usually has lower calories, so it depends on what you're doing. I probably need to be eating a lot more Subway if that's the case, huh? Ryan Vargas on Jersey Mike's. Ryan Vargas on the Jersey Mike's car says Glocks. There you go. He was one of them, but there was a late model dude too. It might have been Ryan Vargas on late model, but I'm not sure. But yeah, for sure. That's exactly who had the Xfinity car I was thinking of. Appreciate you there, Glock. Evernham has a collection of old IROC cars. I heard they could use that. Yeah, so they're going to have one. They're going to have one IROC race this year, and it's going to be a classic IROC car, and it will be from the. It will most likely be from the Evernham collection. BB, what's the worst hangover you ever had? Oh, that's a good question, OJ. Yeah, it will be a long time ago because I don't get down like that anymore. But I don't know. It felt like I didn't have them in my 20s. I didn't have them until I was like in my 30s. So like it would. I don't know. I just laid on the couch, felt like my liver was going to pop out of my head, and then I don't know. Drank water, ate food, didn't matter. Like there was nothing you could do to break it. Like it was just it was bad. Carl Long flip there says like Toyota is more American than Chevy. Sheldon Williams. Oh yeah. Like so that's the crazy thing. I'm with you. Let me read your full statement before I jump in and say something here. Toyota is more American than Chevy. By the way, Chevelle is the name of a Swedish driver, or Chevrolet is the name of a Swedish driver. I don't understand how Toyota gets so much hate. Yeah, so I'm right there with you, man. Like Toyota trucks and other things assembled in America. There are more American parts on those trucks, and Toyota does it on purpose, like obviously just to, because they're trying to get good press and good PR. But like they give so many Americans jobs. I've never understood like okay, it's based in Japan, but they have factories here in America that are giving Americans jobs, and that's really the only criteria I have. Like, if you're giving Americans jobs, like Americans shouldn't hate that company. Like, I don't know. It gets like super political once you get much further than that. But like, I'm looking at it from that perspective. So I don't know. I don't get it. Like, if they're going to help you feed your family, pay your bills, and do all that, I don't know. I don't understand the hate for it. Like, I grew up a Chevrolet guy my whole life. One of the first jobs I ever had was working at Ford. So I mean, like, if they're going to pay my bills, they're going to pay my bills. I'm not going to be super funny about stuff like that. No dirt racer. I did get in trouble a couple of times for wearing some Chevrolet stuff to the place, and they told me a few times they like, you need to remember where you're at. So it was some funny moments there. No dirt race at Bristol, says Dennis. Yeah, I think a lot of people are. I think there is room for a dirt race. I just don't think Bristol is the track to have it at. I think they need to do it at an actual dirt track, and they need to figure out a way to make it happen. Yeah, Mark, go look at the video on Stapleton 42's channel with Ray. He walks you through the whole collection. I'm at the point I just want to clash back at Daytona. Neither the battle at the beach or the 20-lap sprint with pole winners only, says Chrome Diesel. I mean, yeah, I would love to have the clash back at Daytona. I don't think NASCAR is ever going to – they might do like a one-off. Like, the best thing NASCAR could do is sort of do it like the Olympics. Like, once every 4 years we do it. And they could do the same thing with the All-Star race, by the way. Once every 4 years we do it at Daytona. Once every 4 years we do the All-Star race in Charlotte. And those should happen on the same year. Like, Daytona and Charlotte should happen on the same year for the All-Star and the Clash. And then those other 3 years, you take it somewhere else. And you make it a big event because it's only going to be there that 1 year. So that local community comes out that 1 year and gets their NASCAR fix. And since they're going to race on football stadiums, they should race anywhere. So these markets that don't get to see NASCAR very often, like they did with Chicago, take it to these markets that haven't had NASCAR for a while or has never had a NASCAR race in some situations. And that's what you should use the Clash and the All-Star race for. And then, like I said, every 4th year you do it at Charlotte and Daytona. BB Casey Kane, number 4, and pretty much everybody's happy. BB Casey Kane, number 4, Red Bull was dope, right? I did like all the Red Bull cars back in the day were awesome, but that number 4, it looked really good because it was a single number. All the others were double numbers, 84, 83. But yeah, that just a solid number 4. It was a good looking car for sure. Always my sub from Jersey Mike's regular size Rosemary Parm. You got to go Rosemary Parm in between the lanes. Bread, Mike's Way, banana peppers. Hey, there you go. And you're getting the number 13, or you're getting the turkey, or the California. What is it? The California Club. Those are the 3 I usually get. Let's see. You can have them put extra parm on the parm bread and get them to toast it, says Glock. Oh, for sure, it's got to be toasted. BB, you ever sang karaoke? Have I ever sang karaoke? Try to get me to stop singing karaoke. At the bar back in your 30s, teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. It doesn't bother me. My dad was a musician, so I was singing in front of people when I was 6. So like, a lot of people have a fear of like public speaking, which I had too. But ironically, I didn't have a fear of public singing. Like, I don't know, I just don't care. Let's see, and then I tell them the load it with banana peppers as if it were lettuce. Says Glock. I like your style there, Glock. Mike's Way is the best when you go to Jersey Mike's, says OJ. Oh, for sure, man. Like, you got to have the juice on there. If you don't have the juice on there, it's just not a Jersey Mike's trip. Glock was nice. I didn't know that before. It says in between the lanes. All-Star race at Rockingham. I mean, that would be a good one. That would be a good one for sure. BB on Earth 2, do they race at all basketball courts? They sure do. Only at halftime of the games. Halftime of the NBA games and during the Final Four, we squeeze in an Earth 2 NASCAR race in the stadium. And instead of like full-size cars, they're like Mario Karts, and you can wreck people on purpose by throwing items that you have randomly selected, put in your car or your go-kart there. Let's see. Thanks, guys. Now I have to get Jersey Mike's for lunch at work tomorrow, says Glock. Oh, for sure, man. And of course, if you live in Florida, you got to go get the pub sub there. Coca-Cola, we've got Publix in North Carolina too, though. Coca-Cola don't like you to drink Pepsi products either, says one wise guy. That's a fact. That's a big deal, man. Like, dude, that's a good point, one wise guy. Not a lot of people know that. Ryan Pemberton passed away, says Delmar Kaufman. He did. That was unfortunate. Super bummer. I mentioned that on the last episode. Just crazy out of the blue. He was literally on a podcast the day before, and then had the unexpected incident. What's your expectations for Jimmie Johnson this year in the '84 Toyota? I think it'll be a good car. I don't know what Jimmie Johnson will do in it. He's always been pretty good at plate tracks, so he'll probably be all right there. I just don't know about the other stuff. So we'll have to see. Junior Motorsports Hero Card request from Dylan Selfridge. So hopefully you get one of those. BB, did you ever rap when you did karaoke then? Says OJ and Two-Face. So I never did the rap. I never did rapping because I've just got such a country accent that anything would sound ridiculous. But I did sing at karaoke. The Glockopus, good choice for lunch. Who told NASCAR the solution to all their problems is more road courses? Oh, man, that's a good question. Like, I feel like 4 is probably enough. And then you don't want to overdo it with short tracks. You don't want to overdo it with super speedways. You just need a good mix of everything, I think. Celeste Pizza or Red Baron. I like Red Baron, but that's only because I've never had Celeste Pizza. I heard Ryan may had an aneurysm. That's unconfirmed, though, says B. So that would account for that because he seemed healthy. So it had to be. I'm not going to say it had to be, but it could definitely be something like that. Is it true Jimmie Johnson gets his cars from Carvana? He probably does get his cars from Carvana. Hopefully he gets the ones that aren't stolen. Neither OJ, sponsor me, Carvana, please. Please. Neither OJ, the Screaming Sicilian, is the best. Screaming Sicilian is pretty good. BB, do you like your new style country music, or is it pop music? Morgan Wallen. I think it was Morgan Wallen that sings a Jason Isbell song. And because Jason Isbell sings it so good, when I heard him singing it, I was like, what is this nonsense? What is this noise coming out of my radio? So I'm not familiar with Morgan Wallen's music because I basically listen to like older country music. Everything I listen to is older. Like all my rap is like Tupac and Wu-Tang Clan, Biggie, like I guess just my era that I grew up in. So like I'm not familiar with a lot of the newer stuff. But yeah, the newer country music doesn't appeal to me. I'm not super familiar specifically with Morgan Wallen, other than that Jason Isbell song, which I'm sure his version sounds good. If you've never heard Jason Isbell, but Jason Isbell, oh my God, his version of that song is much better. Cover Me Up, I think, is the name of the song. Plus, the box has a detachable Italian mustache you can wear. And believe me, Glock, I've put that mustache on before, just so you know. Mustache on top of a mustache, nothing funnier than that. I can see you pulling off Beastie Boys. Beastie Boys is in rotation. Actually, I watch more of the Beastie Boys because just because the YouTube stuff I do, I make commercials for other people's like social media and stuff like that. I take a lot of elements of Beastie Boys commercial videos and put them in my commercials because they just did so much cool stuff with their videos back in the day. I know he's gotten in trouble and stuff recently, but like Puff Daddy, I took a lot of elements from his videos. Busta Rhymes, a lot of elements from his videos. Yeah, those are really good to pull elements from for other commercial stuff. But so yeah, I watch those for those. What about Tony's Frozen Pizzas? Tony's Frozen Pizzas, you can't beat them because the price is so good. I can see you pull off the Beastie Boys. That's really one. Bone Thugs. Oh, dude, Bone Thugs and Harmony was the bomb. Gosh, that was so good. Notorious Thugs, them and B.I.G. That was an awesome song. How do you think Spencer Boyd will do as a driver owner role in 2024 Craftsman Truck Series season? I hope he does good, man. I just don't know. I don't know. I hope he does good. Ken Hatchett just got here. Love the shirt. Appreciate you there, Ken. Leave them Broadway's girls at home. Morgan Wallen, I laughing my butt off, says OJ. Let's get this straight. Rap is not music, says Mark. Depends on who you ask. I think I like it. I like all music though. I listen to anything from bluegrass to techno. Like so, I don't have one genre that I listen to. I listen to a little bit of everything. Let's see. I think NASCAR should do actual street races like Chicago. It's a pain to work at the local government, but it is instant new fan engagement. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, Sheldon. Like, look, I was worried about Chicago not being a success. They killed it with Chicago. They did a great job. They created a lot of buzz. I think they got a lot of new fans out of it. So look, Chicago was successful. The Clash at the Coliseum the first year was successful. And NASCAR does what NASCAR does. The next Clash at the Coliseum wasn't as good because NASCAR continued to NASCAR. And then you see what they do at the Clash at the Coliseum this year. So even when NASCAR has a good idea, they find a way to mess it up. Jerry Reed songs were better when driving trucks, jam out, eastbound and down. Yeah, I mean, anything. The Claw by Jerry Reed, that's a good one. He had a lot of good ones. When you're hot, you're hot. Let's BB, you excited for the Usher halftime Super Bowl show in a couple weeks? Hey man, look, Usher puts on a pretty good show, dude. Like, so I don't know. Hopefully he can still dance like he could dance in the early 2000s. Let's see. Hi Dylan Selfridge. Let's see. Hey, make it a rhyme. That's right on time. It's tricky. It says Brickyard Brickhead. That's for sure. Did y'all listen to Too Short out there, BB? We did listen to some Too Short. I personally listened to like a lot of West Coast stuff from that particular era. So there was like Daz Corrupt, the Outlaws, the Alcoholics, I think was another group from that particular genre. I don't know, but I don't know about like my friends, but like my friend group, we had like a pretty good West Coast feed. It was us. It wasn't Sam. It was Willie's. It was Willie's tapes and CDs, and they always had like music from everywhere, so you could get anything you wanted to. Music is storytelling. You get the best stories from rap. So what's funny about rap and bluegrass, ironically, are musically the closest because they tell a story, and musically, they usually have very simple elements because the focus is on the story being told. So actually, it sounds crazy, but rap and bluegrass musically are very similar. NASCAR had different. NASCAR has had different 7 road courses on the schedule in the last 5 years. Says Lovey, for sure. BB, what about TI in the streets 24s? Wood grain gripping, paint dripping. OJ and toothpaste. We're gonna have a long road course race this year due to the return King of the South. We're going to have a long road course racing this year due to the return of stage cautions. Man, I agree with you 100%. I think it's the worst thing. Like they gave up on it after 1 year. I hate it. I hate it. I wish they had their top laid back. Anyway, I agree. Glock says, I love you. Dawson Fair, did you get a haircut, BB? I did get a haircut, and I'm not taking my hat off for you. One wise guy, I'd rather watch Missy Elliott than Usher for the show, says one wise guy. Let's see. Missy Elliott came out with Katy Perry. Katy Perry's halftime show was pretty cool. She came out in the big big lion vehicles, and it reminded me of the Thundercats back in the day. Like if there was a gold Thundercat, like that's Katy Perry's musical performance was awesome, and it was Katy Perry. So even if you couldn't hear, it was still a good performance. But Missy Elliott killed it on that particular show. Did you see Kaz Gralla news today, BB? I sure did. Dawson Fair. So he's going to run 26 races or so, and I think that's a good deal. Hopefully, he can find some other guys to put him in for maybe the other 10 or 14 races or whatever he's going to miss. I don't understand how Pinsky alignment is not as technologically advanced as RFK, says Jamie Schweitzer. I don't either, but for whatever reason, it hasn't worked with the Wood brothers. Now, this is a different situation. Front row, I think, is a little further ahead of the game right now than the Wood brothers are. So I think we'll see what Pinsky can do now that they have the front row alliance. Right now, poll question, 49% think Kyle Busch, out of those options, is going to win the Daytona 500. Of course, we did which manufacturer is going to win the Daytona 500 before that, and that's why all those options are Chevrolet drivers, just in case you're joining us and like, he only put Chevrolet drivers on there. That's why. That's why there's only Chevrolet drivers on there. Plus, YouTube only gives me 4 options, so that's why it ended up being done that way. Let's see. Are there any practice sessions on any tracks this year? Well, I know they've got a practice for the Daytona 500. They've got a practice for the Clash at the Coliseum, even though you can't watch it live. Unfortunately, let's see. Y'all have Mac Dre, rest in peace. He was a local legend. I'm not super familiar with him, but I do have a pretty good knowledge of that era. I didn't keep up with it much after that. I just realized what your shirt says. I love it. It says David McSwain. I appreciate it, man. I didn't even know what freaking t-shirt I had on today, but it's gotten a lot of love. So I appreciate you guys, man. You guys are all awesome. Let's see, BB, do you set your alarm clock to wake you up to Justin Bieber baby song LOL? I don't set it to that one. What do I got it set? What is the ringer right now for when I wake up? I think it's All American Rejects. Hope It Gives You Hell. I think that's my wake up thing right now. Katy Perry was on the Tiger. Says Chrome Diesel, a tiger. That's what it was. But it reminded me of the Thundercats. Save big money when you shop Menards. Says In Between the Lanes. Have you watched? And she had the Dancing Sharks. The Dancing Sharks, and one of the Dancing Sharks didn't know what they were doing. Have you watched the movie Leave the World Behind? I have not watched One Wise Guy. I have not watched the whole thing. So I sat down to watch it, and I was super tired, and I think I made it through like 5 or 10 minutes, and I was like, this is going to be a super slow, drawn-out movie. So I was like, I don't have time for this. So I'll have to sit down and watch it when I get more time to watch it. But I haven't seen the whole thing because I was expecting it to be like an action movie where there was going to be some crazy stuff happening. Because the preview, I saw a ship coming in and crashing on the beach. I was like, oh, it's going to be a cool action end of the world movie. But it started off super slow. So I didn't make it past the super slow part. I just made it. I made it to the part where the guy. Oh, what's the dude's name? He played a really good character on House of Cards, but I can't think of his name off the top of my head. I just got to the part where they're arguing about who was going to stay at the house and who wasn't going to stay at the house, and that's as far as I made it. And I was like, oh, I'm so tired. So I just went to bed. So I haven't seen the whole thing yet. Any chance of early prediction for a win at the Clash? Says Jamie Schweitzer. He said that's a question nobody's really asked, right? So. That's a good question. So, Joey Logano, obviously, really good there. I feel like Tyler Reddick's really good there. And I feel like Kyle Busch is really good there. So, I feel like it's going to be one of those three. I think it's going to be, and luckily for me, it's one from each manufacturer. I think it's either going to be, Tyler Reddick, Kyle Busch, or Joey Logano again. Or at least somebody from the Pinsky camp. But those would be the three off the top of my head. If I was the 49ers, Bills, Super Bowl, who would you root for since both of those are your teams? I would root for the 49ers, but I wouldn't be sad. I wouldn't be as sad if they lost to the Buffalo Bills. Because if the Buffalo Bills won a Super Bowl, dude, everybody that remembers the 90s will be so stoked. Because, man, if you didn't feel bad for the Bills in the 90s, I just feel like you don't have a heart. They did everything but win a Super Bowl. Let's see. On the rap subject, everybody talks about East versus West, but sleeps on the South. In particular, Houston. Outkast, ATL. There was a lot of Dungeon Family. There was a lot of people that came out of. Atlanta too, for sure. But yeah, Houston. Dadgummit. The Grills guy. The Grills guy, and then there was the Boss Hogan dude. Oh, why do their names slip my head right now? We play that Boss Hogan song all the time in the when we're working on the race cars. Slim Thug. I couldn't think of his name to save my soul. And then Paul Wall with the Grills, and then there's a bunch of other Houston rappers too. It was a song like in 2000 or 2001. They just kept playing it. 20-inch rims on the Impala, shot caller. I can't think of the words to it. Anyway, I think that dude was from Houston too, but I can't remember. I really dislike stage crap, causes wrecks. Some people like that. I wish they get rid of. They can keep the stage points or whatever, but I'm with you. I wish they get rid of the stage breaks. Did you see Joseph Shrigley's Twitter say that AM Racing will not field the 25 of the Daytona Blunenberger? So yeah, they're going to shift the points or something. I think it's so Haley Deegan can qualify for the race. I think they're going to borrow points from somebody else. That would be my guess, but I don't know. That Jones boy could win. I like your pick. I like your pick there. I'm picking like I said, I got a big year for the Jones boy. The big timers. Oh yeah, so New Orleans too. New Orleans was huge. You got No Limit, Master P. And then Cash Money Millionaires. So like you had No Limit had a ton of rappers like Silk the Shocker, Mystical. Oh man, like it was a crazy era. Like every region had a bunch of famous rappers. It was pretty crazy. Let's see. Having teams not afford an hour of practice at this point sounds like a symptom of a larger problem of NASCAR itself, says Chrome Diesel. Yeah, I think that's a fair point. 100%. I think that's a very fair point. Like if they got to cut back so much that teams don't have money to practice, which I think is BS in my opinion. I think that's just a NASCAR excuse. I think that's NASCAR saving money on having to pay officials to be at the racetrack and stuff like that. Project Pat, oh man, good call, Glockus. I forgot about Project Pat. Strange Music, Tech Nine, oh man, Tech Nine's another one. Fat Pat, Scarface is another good one. Bun B, I hadn't thought about Bun B in a long time, and Slim Thug. Slim Thug was the one I was trying to think of so hard. Paul Wall, and don't forget about Mike Jones. If you've never heard a Mike Jones album, you'll never forget who's on the track because he's going to say Mike Jones at least 3 or 4 times in a song. Big Timers, yeah. So Big Timers was a good one too. Glock, Baby and Manny Fresh, yep. Cash Money Millionaires, Chameleonaire. Hey, there you go. Lil Wayne, Chameleonaire was good, but too poppy. I never got into Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne is like where I started jumping out because I always just remembered him when he first came to Cash Money being the least talented at Cash Money. So like I got out when he was starting to blow up, and he got way better. I'm not taking anything away from him, but Lil Wayne is where I started to get out of it. Little Troy, sorry, that was the baller. Little Troy, appreciate you there, one wise guy. That's who I was trying to think of. Oh man, I forgot about Little Troy. He bumps going Pocono Raceway, Bologna Burger, Dylan Selfridge. I would love to go to Pocono. Afro Man, Colt. Sheldon Williams, man. So I made a Martinsville video, and somebody had left a 40 of Colt 45. And I ended that video with Colt 45 and 2 zigzags. So there's actually been an Afro Man shout out on the channel. I don't know how many people watched it because it was at the end of it, but it's just a picture of somebody left a whole bottle of Colt 45, and it was still frosty. Just left it sitting there unopened. So I just set it up there and used it as a prop. Let's see. Mike Jones is raps. Tyler Perry says Galactopus. 281-360 says Couch Commander. There you go. Oh man, Afro Man, will you help me repair my door? Is the best saga of all time. I'd like to see the 2025 Clash held at North Wilkesboro. What do you think? Says Jamie Schweitzer. Oh man, that would. But then they would probably lose the All-Star race. So, but that would be cool. It would be cool to start the season off at North Wilkesboro. That'd be rad. I wish it was a little bit taller. I wish it was a baller. Old Skilo, yeah, one wise guy. I remember that. I was actually trying to think of that one. I'm glad you typed that because I couldn't think of that dude's name to save my soul. Even if you don't like rap, will you help me repair my door? Will make you laugh in tears. Yep. Of course, his most famous one was Because I Got High. So that's of course the all-time Afro Man banger. 8004 says Couch Commander. Make stage breaks 15 minutes long, drivers hold positions and make adjustments. Show commercials for the whole 15 minutes so we can have more live racing. Man, 15 minutes of commercials, people would have an absolute meltdown. But if it ensured the fact that we would get the rest of the race for free, commercial free, that would be super awesome. Would you like a slice of lemon pound cake? You can have as much as you want to take. I just noticed there's a big Kyle Larson and a little Kyle Larson next to each other in the background. Yeah, so this is they came together. It was part of a pack, so I just don't know what to do with the small one. I guess I need to take the small one to the other studio, but I didn't have another studio when I got that. But yeah, that's technically they're both little Kyle Larsons because they're like actual size, and that's the only driver stand up I got that I'm actually taller than. So that's pretty cool that they're actually actual size. Let's see here. Larsonception. So yeah, it's and there's actually where did I put him at? There's another Kyle Larson around here somewhere. He's standing on top of a Kyle Larson car. Where'd the 42 go? Anyway, so somewhere back there's another Kyle Larson standing on top of the 42 when he drove for Chip Ganassi Racing. It's like a little, like that Dale Earnhardt Funko Pop, but it's a Kyle Larson. So there's actually 3 Kyle Larsons over there. Let's see here. Apparently, Patrick Mahomes is helmet. Oh, yeah, that was super crazy in between the lanes. I saw that during the game Saturday night due to weather conditions in Kansas. Yeah, that was crazy. That was super crazy. Wonder who will be the first Cup driver suspended this season, says Jamie Schweitzer. Oh, that's a good question. Or who will get caught cheating? Who's going to get caught cheating first this year? That would be cool. BD, would you do a live stream with Danica Patrick? I would do a live stream with Danica Patrick. And I would have some good questions. And she would probably have some controversial answers. Let's see. Have a good night, brother. I appreciate you there, One Wise Guy. Thanks for hanging out with me. Bills or Chiefs, says Duke Chronic. I think the Bills. I'm going to pick the Bills just because I've got a slight preference toward the Bills. But, yes, I'm going to pick the Bills in that one. But I don't know for sure off the top of my head who's actually going to win. Should NASCAR ever try and race driver change for the All-Star race? Oh, I don't know, Sheldon. That would be a good question. So it would have to be like an endurance. It would have to be over 600 miles because we know they can do 600 miles, or they would have to put a time limit on it. So like it would be like a 4-hour race, and you could only race 2 hours at a time. That would be an interesting concept. That they might could try that for the All-Star or for the Clash. The Clash. I couldn't think of it to save my soul. So it makes sense to do it at the Clash if you had it at Daytona because you got the 24 hours of Daytona. So you could do right after it. You would have another endurance deal where you did, the 4-hour concept I just threw out there, or however many hours you want to add to it. But a driver can only drive for so long, and then they got to hop out. The Lions and golf all day, says Glockopus. There you go. Look, I'm just glad Detroit got a playoff win. So, shout out to Detroit. It's just been too long. Dan Campbell's the man. Go ahead and put the Dan Campbell statue up right now in Detroit, in the middle of the city. BB, if you do that, I would love to know why Danica hates Truex so much. That's going to be the first question, Lovey Barkley, and she'll probably storm out, cuss, and raise Cain, but that'll be the absolute first question, no doubt about it. Let's see. The Glockopus, I don't know. Don't forget Motor City Dan Campbell. There you go, in between the lanes. I predict Hendrick will win the Owners' Championship again in 2024. They might. Jeffrey Giordano says the Rams are out. Yeah, but look, I don't think a lot of Rams fans were expecting them to be in the playoffs this year anyway. That's just my take on it. So them making the playoffs was actually a good season for them. Dan Campbell ain't done with these jabronis yet, says Glockopus. He might not be, man. Like I said, I can't believe Miami fired him back in the day. Or didn't fire him, but they didn't keep him on when he replaced I forgot who got fired in Miami, but he took over for him, and he had a heck of a season. Like, the guys in Miami finished out pretty well. But they let him go, and he's a Detroit Lion through and through. So he went to Detroit and got the deal done. So good for Detroit. Detroit's treasure was Miami's trash, I guess. Lovey, she hates Joey even more, says Jamie Schweitzer. So yeah, she does have some type of rub against Joey Logano as well. B, will the Carolina Panthers go undefeated next year, 17-0? And win the Super Bowl? I don't know, man. Like, they've had terrible seasons like this before and have gone, like, the next 2 or 3 years going to the Super Bowl. That's the thing with the Carolina Panthers. They're either going to have an absolutely terrible season or they're going to be really good. They're so hit and miss. I couldn't imagine being a Panthers fan. Part to Sam Hunt. I couldn't imagine being a Colts fan either. They're super hit or miss too. Like that's two painful franchises to pull for. Jeffrey Earnhardt to Sam Hunt Racing. I think you mentioned that in one of your videos. Yeah, so hopefully he can get some more races out of that deal than have already been announced. But I'm glad he's in actually pretty good equipment. LOL. I can see her storming out of your studio. Says Sheldon. That would be pretty funny. It would be she would be even shorter than that Kyle Larson over there. So that would be it would definitely look like a little kid. I also appreciate how BB says Detroit correctly. It's not Detroit. Oh, I've never heard anybody call it Detroit. Yeah, Detroit, Rock City, man. Let's see. Go Martin Truex Jr. NASCAR, says Jeffrey. Yeah, so I in case you missed it earlier, there's a bunch of people picking him to win the Daytona 500. So that's a pretty popular pick as well. All right. Looks like we are getting close to the end of this one. So probably go for 5 or 6 more minutes here, and then we'll jump off. I'll give it an even 2 hours, and then we'll jump off here. So get in your last comments and questions, and then I'm on, closer to 5 minutes. 5 minutes, 10 seconds. Here we go. All right. Jeffrey Earnhardt is starting to look like Dale Sr. Says, look, oh, man, dude, it's crazy. Like, especially last year when he shaved off the beard and just had the mustache. And how about he was dating old Lizzie there. I don't know if they're still together, but he pulled him a pretty good-looking girlfriend there, Lizzie Mussey from, what is it, Street Outlaws, whatever Street Outlaws is called now. They got like 15 different versions of them. But he accomplished what a lot of people dreamed about by taking her out on a nice seafood dinner. Let's see. KB will win the 500, says Duke Chronic. Man, that's what I'm picking too. So I'm a big believer that Kyle Busch is going to win a Daytona 500, and I think it's going to come in the next 3 or 4 years. So, like I said, I'm just going to keep picking him until he wins it because I feel like it's coming, especially now that he is with RCR. You know, RCR puts in so much effort to win these 500s. Let's see. Hopefully, the Jets make the playoffs in 2024. Oh man, that would be so awesome. So I don't know. I don't know if you saw I don't watch Saturday Night Live anymore, but every once in a while I'll see the skits. So the skits when they had the dude from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory on there, Timothy, I can't say his last name either, but he was on there as the Jets fan. So look up the Timothy Chalamet Jets Saturday Night Live clip. Look that up because that is one of the best Saturday Night Live clips that they've had in quite some time. Pretty good one. BB, which Toyota driver do you think wins first this year? So I'm gonna handicap it. I could see Ty Gibbs winning Daytona, or I could see Denny Hamlin winning Daytona. But if one of those guys doesn't win Daytona, and I could see Eric Jones winning Daytona, so one of those three, I could see them, and because it's Bubba Wallace, I could see so those four. But if one of those four doesn't win Daytona, I think the first winner you see in a Toyota this year, and this might be like a little bit controversial or out there, I think it's going to be Tyler Reddick. I think Tyler Reddick gets the first win for Toyota this season. And I'll throw Jimmy Johnson in there for nostalgia's sake, and he is good at super speedways. But if a Toyota doesn't win Daytona, I think the first winner will be Tyler Reddick in a Toyota. Earth 2, circa 2014, became true in 2024. Jimmy Johnson will run the Daytona 500 in a Toyota, says Jamie Schweitzer. That is a pretty good analogy there. That's pretty good. KB put his name, put his time, and he is due, says Duke Chronic. For sure. I think he gets it done. Couch Commander says, I bought a 124 Lamborghini Countach S tonight. Super pumped. Oh, that's awesome, dude, man. I've been looking up. So the last one I bought, non-NASCAR, I got an 124th scale 18 van, and I am super stoked with that thing. I might display it somewhere in here randomly and see if somebody catches it. Did not see a lot of fights last year. Are the drivers becoming vanilla, or has everyone become afraid to take a swing on Chastain? I think Chastain set the tone. He was like, all these people were talking about Chastain, and I think that punch was more necessary than any punch that's ever been thrown. He's like, all right, you guys want to have all this hard butt talk. Well, how about you come up and do something? Because the first person that came up there and tried to do something caught one right in the mouth. So the best, dude, the absolute best was when somebody told Denny Hamlin that somebody got in a fight with Noah Gragson got in a fight with Ross Chastain, and Denny thought it was going to go a different way. And then Denny's face, when he saw Noah Gragson get smoked in the face with that fist, you could see right there, like Denny's whole complexion and demeanor changed. He was like, "Oh, this is serious." And it's at that moment that all of a sudden Denny Hamlin and Ross Chastain started getting along. And Denny Hamlin's version of the story is, yeah, me and Ross worked it out, basically insinuating that Ross, and this is just me speculating, but Denny Hamlin's face when he saw Ross Chastain pop Noah Gragson, and you saw Noah Gregson's ears wiggle, that's when Denny Hamlin, all of a sudden that beef got retired right quick, didn't it? So I'm gonna leave it at that. One last rap recommendation, especially if you like GoldenEye on N64, look up YouTube GoldenEye Pause Music. But it's actually Project Pat. Oh, dude, I'm going to check that out. I'm going to check that out right after I hop off here in 1 minute. Oh, man, 30 seconds. So I'm going to have to run through these real quick. BB, do you think about Ford joining Red Bull in 2026? I think it's awesome. I'm glad that Ford's getting back in F1. Glockopus GoldenEye is an instant classic. I agree with you in between the lanes. One of the best ever. Huge Project Pat fan. like huge, says Couch Commander. Project Pat was the man, dude. Taken too soon. Oh, for sure. They got the remastered version out on Xbox. I think the Switch and the Switch. Yeah, dude, GoldenEye, man. GoldenEye was an all-timer. Good Lord, he started with Baby Gibby. Says Lovey Barkley. Oh, yeah, I like to stir it up. But I'm telling you, man, Baby Gibbs, he can race at super speedways. I'm telling you, don't sleep on it. Couch Commander 5000, look up GoldenEye pause music. It's actually Project Pat. Has no business slapping as hard as it does. Says Glock, the guy stopped. It was not right. Says Dude Chronic, Magic Lose, a heartbreaker. And I will make it in time to vote. William Byron in the poll, mixed emotions. Hey, there you go. Look, the Magic are having a good season. Don't get too beat up about one loss. The NBA is a long season. We're not even close to the All-Star break, my man. Good night to all, and to all a good night, says Lovey. Thanks for another great live, says Jamie Schweitzer. And good googly moogly, says Octopus, and that's a good way to end this one. So I'm going to check you guys on the next one. And I didn't even go a minute over because there's still 15 minutes left, so here we go. Peace.